Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name is Anthony and we'll get started here in just a few minutes. I see some people have already started to filter in, so thank you so much for being on time here. And again, we'll just get started probably in about a minute or two after the hour, just to let people kind of filter in. While we wait, I figured just a way to kind of get used to the the kind of interface here and kind of break the ice is if anyone wants to put in the chat kind of a movie or a TV show they've been obsessed with lately, kind of help break the ice, get some conversation started, then we'll be using the chat option here as we go through to ask questions and engage. So again, thanks for being here. We'll get started in just a few minutes, but if anyone wants to start just throwing in what any show they've been watching lately, that'd be amazing just to kind of help break the ice. And I'll start. I've been watching The Penguin. Fell asleep last night during the final episode, so don't spoil it for me. But so far, I've been really, really enjoying it. It's kind of got me on the edge of my seat. Awesome. Saw a few more people pull in. So yeah, we'll probably get started here about 2 past. Awesome. Intelligence. I haven't heard of that one. I'm going to write that down. As I said, I'm on the last episode, so I'll need to go and check that out. Awesome. Thank you, Gemma. Awesome. And cool. We'll go ahead and get started. This will be recorded, so anyone that's maybe a few minutes late, they'll be able to kind of view the recording of the webinar. And I'm also happy to connect with anybody one-on-one after this if there's any questions. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and pull my slides up and we can go ahead and get started. Okay. Got myself into a little bit of a... There we go. Excellent. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. It looks like a few more people have kind of filtered in. If you're just joining us, I did kind of start a little icebreaker. Heather and Gemma have been so kind as to also put something. I haven't heard of either of these, the Intelligence or the Martha documentary. But if you want to just kind of break the ice and get to know each other, we're just putting in our kind of recent TV or movie obsessions in the chat. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining me today. The reason we're here is obviously not to talk about TV, but it's to talk about how we can grow your agency's revenue with Sendible. So my name's Anthony and I'll be your host. And we have a lot of ground to cover. So I'm going to dive right in. Again, this will be recorded. So if there's any team members maybe that want to view this later, they'll be able to do this. But we'll be going over a lot. So I'm going to get going. The first thing we'll talk through is an intro to Sendible and our white label capabilities. The next thing we'll go over is just common challenges that agencies face and how Sendible can help with those. We'll touch base on potential revenue streams and how agencies are packaging Sendible to kind of maximize their ROI. I have some examples of agencies that have grown with Sendible that we'll be able to share with you. We'll do a very high level, quick live demo. There'll be a Black Friday promo preview at the very end. And then of course, there'll be a Q&A. So if anyone has any questions throughout this, please feel free to use the chat. That's kind of why I got that icebreaker going, just to kind of get us familiar with that. There's also a question option there as well. And I'll do my best to kind of address them as we go, but we'll definitely have a Q&A there at the very end. Awesome. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Anthony Benavides. I am the head of sales here at Sendible. I've been with Sendible for over 2 years now, working pretty much exclusively with our white labelers and resellers. And before I was with Sendible, I actually worked with another white label company called GatherUp, where we focused on reputation management. So I've spent the majority of my career helping white labelers figure out how to package different marketing tools and go to market with them. And then hopefully you know a little bit about Sendible since you're at our webinar, but in case you're not familiar with Sendible, Sendible is a social media management platform really specializing in the white label space. We've been around since 2009, so going on over a decade and a half. And we have over 5,600 customers. Many of those are agencies, so the brands represented by Sendible is actually many-fold that number. And then we have a relatively large global presence. We're represented in over 50 plus countries. And what makes Sendible really unique in the market is our white label. So we'll be going over this in a lot more depth when we go over the demo and after we go through some of the common challenges and packaging options, but just a brief overview in case you're not familiar with what a white label is. Essentially, a white label is just the ability to rebrand a tool using your branding. So when that comes to Sendible, it basically means exactly that. You'll be able to rebrand our dashboard, our reports, any views that your clients see. Instead of seeing Sendible in the domain or in the logo, you'll be able to replace all of that branding with your own branding. Since this is kind of our bread and butter, we also have a lot of tools to help you onboard clients, including a Client Connect widget, which I'll cover in a little bit. And we also offer free trials if you're looking to offer more of a do-it-yourself or self-service offer. Flexible permission groups are important to make sure that just the clients or team members have access to only the content and the calendars they need. They're not able to see everybody else. Of course, we have approval workflows so you can collaborate with your team. And then perhaps most importantly, we have reports, which of course can be white labeled under your branding. And these are all great, but they really wouldn't mean anything if it wasn't for our people team here. So I think the best part about Sendible is not just that we provide a great white label service, but we also kind of roll out the red carpet for our agencies and our resellers. So when you onboard with Sendible, you would get access to a dedicated customer success manager. So everything I covered today, you'll either be able to go over on a demo with someone on my team, or if you decide to move forward, we'll be able to hand you off directly to a customer success manager who can sit down with you, learn your use cases, help train your team, and make sure you really know how to manage Sendible before you go ahead and get in front of your customers. Awesome. And that's essentially a quick high-level overview of Sendible. So if there's any questions on Sendible, feel free to ask those in the chat. We'll also be going over a little bit more of a demo on Sendible specifically in a moment. But before we get into more on Sendible specifically, I wanted to zoom out and just kind of talk about some common challenges that we see agencies face when either trying to grow their current offering or start an offering from scratch. So the first challenge I wanted to highlight is just the growing managing teams and responsibilities. So when you first start off as an agency and you have just one or two clients, you generally have like a relationship with those clients. So some of the mistakes or some of the learnings can be a little bit more forgiven when you're first starting off. But as you start to grow, you start to onboard new clients, you gain that authority. It becomes increasingly important that you kind of nail down your workflows. You make sure you have the right tools in place for the team members that are helping you manage these clients, and that you're taking security extremely seriously, whether that means you're taking the client security seriously or just making sure that team members only have access to what you want. All of these are kind of barriers that you'll face while you're trying to figure out how to go from that first one or two clients to kind of scaling up an agency that maybe is managing dozens or hundreds of clients. The next thing I wanted to chat through is just onboarding and setting up new clients. So very similar to onboarding new team members, your first couple clients, you'll be able to kind of hand crank the gears, but as you start to develop, you'll want to start putting in systems. And with these systems, you'll run into certain challenges that you'll want to kind of build processes around. So the first one is just something we've been dealing with for years. I'm sure you've all dealt with this as well, just shrinking advertising budgets. That's been kind of a trend for at least the last 2 or 3 years, and there's no reason to think 2025 would be any different. People are looking to stretch their dollar further and further. Where agencies can come in with that is really providing affordable and valuable options for their clients to help make them see the benefits of making sure that their social media and their advertising is exactly where they want it to be. Another big challenge that agencies, especially when they get started, don't quite realize will be as big of a challenge as it can sometimes be is getting those admin privileges. So in order to start scheduling content for your clients, you generally need to get their logins and ideally their admin to their social accounts so that you can start scheduling for them, whether that's scheduling natively or scheduling through their third-party or their social media sites directly, rather. And some clients are very understanding, very okay handing over these admin privileges, but it is sensitive information. So you will start to run into clients more and more, I'm sure, that will be sensitive and want to have established processes for handing those logins over. Another challenge, especially for folks that maybe are already currently offering some form of software, is just integrating with your current setup. So if maybe you're a reseller that has a software dashboard, or you're using another tool that your clients are very familiar with, finding ways to kind of work your social media management strategy and integrate it or set up workflows so it can work alongside your dashboards is incredibly important. and something that might not be super straightforward when you first take a look at it. And then the last challenge that you'll face with onboarding and setting up new clients is just keeping them organized, whether that's organizing the clients' calendars or their content, making sure you kind of have that all squared away so that there's no mistakes is super important. We also offer, or another challenge here would be quality control and client collaboration. So we all know mistakes happen. We're all human, but how do we make sure that those mistakes don't actually end up on our clients' social media feeds? Making sure you have some systems in place to get internal feedback. Also, client feedback is super important to help make sure that you're not leading to those mistakes that lead to upset clients or, even worst case scenario, churned customers. Content management. So as you're doing social media for clients, there'll be images, there'll be videos, there'll be draft posts, making sure that you have a great way of kind of saving all of that content, and everybody that's involved in the process of publishing knows where that content is super important. And if you don't have a process for that, it can lead to stuff kind of falling through the cracks. So establishing a good content library and a good approval workflow is paramount for growing your agency. And then last but not least, I'm sure this is one that kind of resonates with everybody, is consistent reporting and check-ins. Without a tool in place, reporting can be very time intensive. It can take a couple hours per client. And if you're taking a couple hours for every client, you can imagine that kind of compounds on itself and becomes a fairly unruly project. So finding a tool that can help you, but not only a tool that can help you, but also has reliable sources of data is super important and will help save your agency a ton of time. So now, before I go over kind of how Sendible can help specifically with each of these areas, I wanted to just launch a quick poll and see if any of these kind of resonated with you. So if you just give me half a second, I'm just going to publish this, and I believe a poll should have been popped up on your screen. If you would be so kind as to just let us know which one of these kind of challenges resonates the most with you, that would be great to kind of see what the audience is most concerned with. And if there's something on here that you're really focused on that I didn't mention, please check the other box and then put that challenge in the chat, and we can talk through it at the end. I'll give everyone just a second to go ahead and start filling out the polls. It looks like we have a couple answers so far. And I believe it should have popped up on your screen. Cool, I see a couple more responses come through. Awesome. So yeah, go ahead and, if you haven't already, go ahead and fill that out. But while you're thinking about the challenges that kind of resonates the most, oh, awesome, we have someone put another. Yeah, please definitely put that in the chat, and I'll be sure to kind of touch base on that other challenge once we get towards the end of the webinar. But as folks are kind of filling out the poll, what I'll go through now is just how Sendible can actually help with each of these areas. So on the growing teams and responsibilities, really the most important thing you can do is make sure that the permissions your team members have when managing these social profiles are as locked down as possible. So whether that means you have a content creator that is able to create content but not actually able to publish it, or you have clients that are receiving approvals before anything goes live, we have a bunch of tools to make sure that there is stop points to help you collaborate with your team as well as your clients and help grow this where you can avoid mistakes wherever possible. And then on onboarding and setting up new clients, I think this is an area where Sendible really thrives. We have a lot of tools that can help make this process as easy as possible. The first one is dedicated client calendars. This is important because it allows you to organize your clients in different calendars, helps you avoid mistakes where you might be accidentally posting content then from one client to another client. I'll go over this on the demo in a little bit more depth, but we do also have a Client Connect widget, which is essentially a button that can be added to your website. So instead of having to go through the process of asking clients for their login information and having them kind of share that secure detail with you in maybe not the most secure fashion, we have a button that you can add to your website that clients can go to and actually log into their accounts themselves. They don't have to share any of the login or admin privileges with you directly. And then for clients that are offering more of a dashboard solution, or if they're using another dashboard already, we do offer a single sign-on. This is really helpful for kind of those resellers or do-it-yourself clients that need a secure system and a way of integrating with some of their other offerings. Also on the kind of do-it-yourself side, what's really valuable is we do offer white labeled free trials. So you will be able to drive traffic to your website and actually have people sign up for your white label account directly and try it out themselves if you're offering kind of that more self-service do-it-yourself. And then last but definitely not least, I'm sure a lot of your clients, as you're onboarding them, either already have content or they have a bunch of ideas for the content they'd like to publish. So getting started, especially, we offer bulk uploading, which can allow you to save a ton of time kind of migrating clients from one tool to another. Excellent. Next, we have quality control and client collaboration. This really comes down to the collaboration tools that Sendible offers. We offer approval workflows, so not just the ability to send approvals, but to actually assign specific clients to specific team members so that the approvals go through the same people every time. We also have a nice task section where you'll be able to engage with your team members and clients and kind of have conversations that you can refer back to later. And then, of course, we have posting permissions. So if there's anybody on the team that maybe isn't eligible to be actually posting things live, we can make sure that they only have access to being able to create content and send it for approval without giving them the ability to actually make anything live on your client's page. On the content management side, we offer a built-in content library. So if you are creating pre-approved content for your clients, this is a great spot where their clients will be actually able to log into Sendible and access that client or that content themselves. Also very helpful if you're working with like a content creator and you just need to provide them with like hashtags or reusable logos or something like that they can just have at their fingertips. And then we also integrate with all the major cloud storage devices, Google Drive and Dropbox, and there's a Canva integration. So anywhere your team is currently kind of working on content or saving content, you'll be able to pull all of that directly into Sendible, so it's all kind of right at your fingertips. And then last but not least, reporting and check-ins. So we offer a great reporting solution. We offer over 200 metrics that you'll be able to pull into reports for your clients and organize the way you see fit. Our reports are white labelable, so they can have your logo on them. And then if you're sending PDFs, they will also have your domain or subdomain in the PDF's domain area. These can be white labeled and automated, so they can go out like on the first of every month or whatever cadence that you're looking for. And then we also offer campaign reports, which I'll go over in a little bit more detail, but essentially the campaign reports allow you to add tags to specific posts in order to report on those content pillars more specifically than your general reports. Excellent. If there's any questions on the challenges, or if anyone wants to dive in on these deeper, please feel free to add some questions or some chats down below. I did see one chat come through from Dilsa, and her challenge was receiving image content from clients' customers. We have a client request for text to content. In other words, having a QR code poster in the client's location where customers can text photos and then we can post them. Okay, so essentially just trying to receive content from the actual client's customers, so maybe people that are engaging with their stores. I'll be sure we have some tools that might be able to help with that, so I'll kind of cover that in the actual live demo. If there's any other questions on the potential challenges, definitely continue to go through this or continue to type them out. But while we wait, now that we've kind of covered the potential challenges, the next thing I'd like to think about is how do we actually maximize our revenue? So we've gone through the challenges, we kind of understand how we'll be able to tackle them, but now how do we actually make sure our ROI is where we want it to be? And generally that's going to come down to two best practices. So what you see here is kind of a spectrum of what we typically will see our clients offer. So on one side of the spectrum, you'll see a managed service offering, which in broad strokes means the agency is basically doing everything for the client. They're doing the scheduling, they're doing the reporting, they might even be helping with comments, but they're really doing a full managed service for the client. And then on the other side of the spectrum is more of a pure white label kind of reseller model where the clients are actually doing it themselves, or as I say here, DIY. So they're logging in, you're providing them the software, but they're logging in, they're doing it themselves. And as I mentioned, this is a very large spectrum. So we typically will see our agencies and resellers kind of fall on closer to one side of the spectrum than the other. But as you'll see when we get over some of the examples of our agencies, it's very common for them to kind of mix these two models while they're doing their packaging. And I do see your question, Gemma. I will definitely get back to that when I come over to the demo. We'll go over admin access and connecting to Facebook. So, like I mentioned, these are kind of a spectrums, and there are pros and cons to each of the managed service and DIY. So on the managed service side, really the biggest pro here is that you can charge quite a bit more for your clients. So because you are really setting yourself up as an authority, this allows you to build relationships with clients. You'll be adding a ton of value to them because this is a really in-demand service that they're not currently able to do on their own. So with that value, you're able to charge a little bit more, you're able to build trust, authority, and it also gives you an opportunity to open your business up to offer other marketing services that you might currently be trying to get your clients on board with. And then on the con side, it might be pretty straightforward, but when you're doing a managed service, it is pretty time intensive. So as you onboard more and more clients, you'll need to make sure you have your standard operating procedures really locked down. And at a certain point, it does become difficult to scale without help of a team of some sort. And then for the do-it-yourself service, the pros are hopefully relatively straightforward. So you have way less upfront work on the client side, or on the agency side rather, because you're basically white labeling a software tool, creating some funnels, and then letting the clients kind of log in and manage the service themselves. This allows you to onboard generally more clients than you would be able to do if you're offering a fully managed service. And we have tools like our free trials and our Client Connect, which can help you really streamline and automate this process as much as possible. But on the con side, when you're offering a DIY service, typically the amount that you're making per client is a little bit lower. You also aren't able to build those relationships quite as easily, so the churn risk is a little higher. And there's quite a bit of competition in the do-it-yourself space. So that can also help drive down the average account value. Cool. So as I mentioned, those are kind of spectrums. And when you're thinking about how you want to package and offer reputation or social media management, the best way you can maximize revenue is by giving your clients options. So what I'm about to go over are just some kind of broad, high-level examples of the packages you'll see. But I do want to emphasize that you can mix and match these. So if you really like the managed service, but you maybe want to have a little bit of a do-it-yourself offering in there, that's something we see a lot of our agencies do. So just use these examples I'm about to go over as kind of a high-level guide, but they're not set in stone by any means, and you'll be able to tweak them either for your individual audience or the individual way you want to kind of manage your clients. So on the managed service side, a couple examples of packages we might see is essentially a smaller package where you're starting off at $200 a month, and then all the way up to a larger package, which might be, I have $999 a month here, but we've seen this upwards of $2,000, $3,000 a month, depending on the client and their industry. On the smaller end, you are managing the service for them, but basically the differences between the packages is just how much work you're doing. So on the smaller end, you're maybe doing a post per week. On the middle end, you're kind of maybe doing 1 or 2 posts per week and then offering some additional reporting services. And then on the upper end, you're really doing the most. You have more or less daily posts. You're providing content libraries. You're helping them report on certain campaign or content pillars. You might even be doing comment monitoring for them at this price point. And then you're really leaning in on that report and that consultation to help maximize your clients' results from their social media. And then on the do-it-yourself package tiers, these are, as I mentioned, generally quite a bit more affordable than the managed service, just because the clients will be doing a lot of this work themselves. So on the low end, typically we see something around $40, $50 a month is kind of where clients will start off. And with that, you might just get access to like a basic scheduler. So a couple profiles and then the scheduling calendar. And then as you go up, you get access to more features. So in the middle tier, I've added comments as well. And then on the upper tier, they'd have access to kind of the full suite of services that they have within their individual calendar. Awesome. So again, the reason I wanted to go over this is just because we're here trying to maximize our ROI. And to maximize your ROI, you obviously need to know what your investment would be. So with Sendible, if you were to onboard with Sendible with our white label, it starts at $299 a month. And what you'd have access to that is really the 20 client calendars. So for $299 a month, you'd have 20 clients you can start with. And that breaks down to $14.95 per client. And you can add clients moving forward for $14.95. So your 21st client would just be another $14.95, second client or 22nd client, another 14, et cetera, et cetera. As you scale, we are happy to talk about volume pricing. So we can bring this price down even a little bit more as you get upwards of like 50 clients. But the reason I really wanted to emphasize this is essentially your investment per client would be around $15 a month. And if we go back and look at the different packages that we've outlined here, there's quite a bit of room for you to get a really good return on this investment, depending on how you're packaging and offering the service to clients. Awesome. So if anyone wants to go over how to package or has any questions about kind of their use case specifically, there will be an opportunity at the end to ask some questions. And then I will be also giving out my email so we can set up some one-on-one calls or consultations as well. I'd be happy to go over your use case. But for now, let's just take a look at how some other agencies have actually grown with Sendible. So the first one I wanted to give an example of is IP Marketing Solutions. So IP Marketing Solutions has been with Sendible for a few years now, and they chose Sendible because they needed a solution that they can start small with. This is really something that Sendible excels at. We try our best to meet our clients where they're at. So we do have smaller packages you can use to kind of hand crank the gears while you get your white label and the rest of your service up and running. And that's kind of what IP Marketing Solutions has done. And since then, they've grown to 25 clients and they're continuing to add customers. But my favorite thing about IP Marketing Solutions is that they also have a lower tier package to help with client retention, where the clients are actually able to log in and do the social media management themselves. So if you think back to those packages I just went over, this is a great example of how you can kind of mix and match to really make sure that you're kind of maximizing the potential to onboard and retain as many clients as possible. And then perhaps one of the coolest examples of a customer currently using our white label would be Qbot. So Qbot, and I'll actually just quickly take us to their website, offers a SaaS dashboard where they offer a variety of different services. So they offer everything from review management to website to SEO, and they've also used Sendible to kind of power the social media side of their dashboard. They offer a completely self-service completely DIY solution. So their clients are more or less doing all of the work themselves. And they came to Sendible because we offered the SSO feature specifically, which allowed them to really integrate Sendible into the rest of their offering, allowing their team to save time and focus on building out the rest of their marketing suite. Amazing. That is really what I wanted to go over before we dive in on the live demo. So if there's any questions on the challenges, packages, or if we want to look more at case studies, please feel free to reach out after the call. But at this point, what I'm going to do is just give you a look into Sendible so you can kind of see what it would look like from yours and your client's end. So the first thing I want to highlight here, of course, is that Sendible is white labeled. So when you get started with our white label, it is a true white label. So you're able to white label your domain or subdomain. You're also able to add your logo here. And then when you log in, depending on who you are, whether you're the admin, maybe a team member or a client, you'll have an overview of the calendar here. So since I'm logging in as an admin right now, I'm able to see content from across all of my clients. But as you see up here in the left-hand corner, I do have a breakdown where each of my clients and team members also has their own calendar, and they would have restricted views. So for example, when client one logs in, they would just see access to the content on client one's calendar. And we can also set it up so if you have teams maybe managing specific clients, when team member one logs in, they would only see the content for the two clients that they're managing. So you can really parse this out with permissions and make sure that the team members and clients are only seeing exactly what they need. Additionally, we do have permission groups. So if you're looking at kind of tiering out these packages, you can pick and choose which one of the features that your clients have access to. And you can set that up on a per user or per client basis, just to help make sure this is as streamlined as possible for your clients. Now, as far as connecting, I think there was a question about admin access from Gemma. So these are the social media platforms you can work with. So before I get to Gemma's question, the easiest way to connect your client's social accounts would be if you have admin access already. If you already have admin access, all you need to do is click on the social profile you want to add, and then you'll be prompted to log in. But as I mentioned at the very top, that is sometimes a challenge that agencies don't even realize they have, right? Maybe a client doesn't want to share their admin access, or maybe they don't even know what their admin access is. So in that case scenario, we do offer this Client Connect widget, which is essentially a button that can be added to your website, which would allow you to add the profiles you're offering to manage to your website, so your clients can go to the website, click the button themselves, and log into their account themselves. This is transparently probably one of the favorite features of our agencies. This saves agencies a ton of time when they're onboarding new clients, and it's not something that most of our competitors have. So when I'm doing my demos with new customers, this is definitely kind of a wow moment for them. Now, I do want to pause just for a second to go back to Gemma's question. So Gemma mentioned or said, you mentioned admin access. Sometimes clients seem to have issues, particularly on Facebook, or having the right ownership to allow them to add us as a partner. So Facebook and Meta in particular are definitely a pain. As you may be aware, over the last 5 years, Facebook, Instagram, and Meta have made some major updates. They've kind of come out with the business suite. And to your point, Gemma, if your clients haven't been super involved in the ongoings over at Meta, if they haven't been paying a ton of attention to their Meta business suite, it might be a little confusing. That's something that we hear all the time from our customers is how do I actually get logged into Facebook? So the first thing I'd recommend is if your clients are currently able to log in and they just don't know their password, the Client Connect widget would be a great way to help them out, because they can actually click the link, and if they already have the password saved on their computer, it would be able to log them in directly. If they are completely lost and they don't have any of this, going back to our customer success team, we have a ton of experience working. I believe on the customer success team, there's over 15 years experience combined working with agencies to help them get set up. So we'll be able to work on that case scenario specifically with you and give you best practices to be able to get connected. Awesome. So now that we have the calendars divided, we also have the profiles connected. The next thing you generally will want to do is start scheduling for your clients. So the best thing to do is actually switch to that client's calendar. And by switching to the client's calendar, you'll have access there just to the profiles that client is looking to post to. We do offer a Smart Compose feature. So if you're looking to post across multiple channels, you are able to do that. So here I'm going to post a video to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. So I'm going to pull the video right from my computer. And while we wait for this video to upload, I'll show you that we can do it from the computer, like I mentioned. We can also pull images from the web, and we'll save all of your previously used images. Each calendar will be able to connect to their own Google Drive or Dropbox or Canva. We also offer the ability to pull in GIFs as well as YouTube videos. And then last but definitely not least, you do also have content libraries. So if there's things like hashtags or logos that your content team will need at their fingertips, this is a great place where you can actually set up multiple libraries where they can view the content that they need. Once the media has been added, you'll see you're able to actually customize the channel or the content for each channel. But if you're on the original tab, anything you type here will be transposed automatically to those other networks. You can either type in content manually like I just did there, or you can use our AI assist button, which is able to be turned off. So if you're an agency that doesn't want to use AI and don't want your clients to see the AI button, you can turn this off for your account. But if you are somebody that would like to utilize this, you can make something like write me a funny social media post for a bar and grill. So here we're able to add the content right here. We can also add hashtags to it, rephrase it if you have a little writer's block, or check it for speller and grammar. Once the content has been added to the original tab, we're then able to go in and customize it for each channel. So maybe on Facebook, I just wanted to customize the actual caption here. So we can use the AI assist to customize the caption. We do also have those advanced features down here. So if I want this to be a reel, I can come down here and toggle it as a reel. And you can go through and do that for the rest of the channels as well. Everything's completely customized. Once the post is ready to go, the last thing you'll want to do is maybe add tagging. So we do offer link tracking. So you can either track links through a Bitly link tracker, which can integrate with your Bitly Pro account. We also have Google Analytics. So if you're using Google Analytics to track clicks, you can use our UTM parameters to add those to your posts as well. And then last but not least, we do have the campaign feature up here, which will allow you to add tags to your post, which allows you to actually organize them on the calendar. So you can pull out maybe just the post related to Thanksgiving, or in our reporting section, it also allows you to report on the post with these tags specifically. So you don't have to go looking for maybe that holiday post or that specific content pillar that your client's interested in. Now that the content's been created, you can go through, make sure it looks good on all the different channels. And then the last thing you'll be able to do is come down here and schedule it. So you can pick a date. We will offer you the optimal time. And then depending on your workflow, you can either click schedule, or as I mentioned, you can actually remove this for certain team members or clients so that they have to send it to your team for approval. When you send the content to the client for approval, they will receive an email notification that they can engage with and actually approve from on the go. But you will also have access, oops, let me actually send this. You will also have access to the engagements from our task section here, where you can kind of keep track of any conversations that have been having, and either yourself or the client will be able to approve it once it's ready to go. And that's really just a high-level overview of our basic scheduler. We do have some more advanced features like the bulk uploader, and we also have queues, which you can use to repeat posts. So for example, I have a queue in here that's repeating happy hour posts, and then a queue that's also pulling in ESPN updates. So if you would like to learn more about the publishing capabilities, definitely take a call with us and we can dive in on this in a little bit more detail one-on-one. But now that we have the content scheduled, typically the next thing you will want to do is start engaging with that content. So this can be something that the agency does, depending on the package that you're offering your client, or since your clients will be able to log in, they can manage this themselves. So on the social feed side, you'll be able to see an actual feed of the Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn post. And this will be organized by when the post was created. And then in the priority inbox section, we actually bring the most recent comments to the top, so you don't have to go digging for them. So for example, if there was a post yesterday that's getting a lot of engagement, on the social feed, you would have to go down and kind of scroll for it. But in the priority inbox, it will actually pull that to the top, so you never miss a comment. And the priority inbox also works with Facebook ads and YouTube comments. Awesome. And if there are any questions about this, definitely feel free to add them to the questions or the chat. I'll be sure to go over that a little bit more detail at the end. A lot of agencies will also work on SEO for their clients. So if you're offering blogs as part of your SEO package, we can pull these into the dashboard. You can either use these as just nice, easy ways to kind of share a one-off post, kind of like you see here. But as you saw with the queue, we can also create auto posters. So every time a new blog post is published, you can have it posted to the specific channels that you want. And you can either do that automatically, or you can have it kind of more scheduled using our queue functionality. And then we went over this on the compose box, but we do also have a content library here where you can kind of save any reusable assets for your agency or your client. Awesome. On the reports side, we do offer these channel-specific quick reports, and these are great. They're kind of ready to go out of the box. So if you're just reporting on one channel for your client, these are a great resource to kind of help you get started. But for agencies that are managing more than one profile, or maybe doing things across different social networks, our report builder is really the feature that most of our agencies will use. Sorry, I should have mentioned I'm having a bit of a storm, so my Wi-Fi, I'm up in Seattle right now and we had a bomb cyclone, so my Wi-Fi is just a little slow, so apologies about that. But as I was saying, the report builder is what most of our agencies will use. And the reason they use these over our quick reports is because these will actually allow you to pull in metrics from all your different channels. Here we go. Sorry, again, my Wi-Fi is just taking half a second. So the general reports here will allow you to aggregate metrics. So if you're doing Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those metrics can be pulled into one report under the general report. And then we have over 200 metrics for the different channels that you can also dive in and pick those specific metrics. You can build the report as you see fit. So if there's something that you think is more important, you can kind of pull it to the top. You are also able to add a logo, either your logo or your client's logo, and maybe a little bit of a synopsis. And then these can be shared automatically with your clients, either using the scheduling tool here, where you can send it to as many emails as you'd like on a recurring basis. Or we do also have a live link, which of course will be white labeled under your domain. And if you were using a logo, it would also have your logo here. And in addition to our standard custom reports, you will also have access to the campaign report feature. And what this report feature allows you to do is, again, report on those kind of content pillars specifically. So for example, Thanksgiving's right around the corner here in the US. So I'm running a campaign right now. So far, there's been 6 posts sent. We've engaged with 7 audience members, but we've actually gotten 0 interactions. So I can go down and kind of see which channel those posts have been sent on. It looks like LinkedIn right now is kind of the main post or the main channel for me. And then we also can see the top post on each of these channels. So this is a really good tool, especially for clients that maybe want to know about a post specifically. Maybe they're running a big Black Friday promo and they want to know exactly how Black Friday performed. This allows you to kind of cull that data and pull those specific posts out, so you don't have to spend a ton of time manually trying to find those analytics for clients. So that was a lightning fast overview of Sendible's basic functionality. Again, I'm happy to jump on a call and go over everything in more depth where we have a little bit more time and can go over your use case in particular. Before I end the demo though, I just want to highlight a few white label specific features here. The first feature here I want to touch base on is just the ability to add additional tabs. So if you are an agency maybe that's offering additional services, you can add a tab up here that will actually be able to link your client out to maybe your website or a help guide or something like that. This is really valuable for those customers like Qbot maybe that are offering more than one just marketing service, or maybe integrating within a dashboard there. And then perhaps my favorite white label feature is we do offer the ability to offer free trials. So if you are somebody that's looking to offer some form of a DIY service, you can actually use Sendible as a bit of a lead magnet. You can use this link here and add it to your website where you can drive traffic to it. And people will be able to sign up for a trial, either 7, 14, or 30-day trial of your white label account, where they can kind of play around with it themselves. And then depending on kind of how you're packaging it, you can either let them do it completely themselves, or you can intervene and help them and maybe upsell them on some of your other services. And like I mentioned, really, really high level overview of the platform. So if there's any questions or if anyone wants to jump on a call afterwards, my team is standing in the wings and more than happy to do that. So at this point, I think maybe what we've been waiting for is just a quick preview of our Black Friday promo. So the Black Friday promo actually officially launched this morning. We are offering 20% off monthly or 30% off all our scale plans and above. So if you go to our pricing page, you'll see there's really 3 packages that our agencies will use, and they've all been highlighted with the 30% or 20 and 30% off promo. This promo is available through the end of the day, December 6th, and it is exclusive for new customers. So if you are a current customer and you're looking to kind of maximize your ROI, definitely feel free to reach out to me. We can take a look at your package. But this promo is exclusive for new customers looking to onboard with Sendible this year. Awesome. And with this, I wanted to open up for a quick Q&A. So that's really the majority of the content we had. So if there's any questions that I know Dilsa had a question that we'll go back to, but if there's any other questions, feel free to either enter them in the chat or enter them in the question section and we can get to them. So Dilsa, you mentioned earlier one challenge that you had was receiving image content from client customers. We had a client request to text us content. In other words, having a QR code poster in the client's locations where customers can text photos and then we can post. So I'd say probably the best solution we have for that, just off the top of my head, and again, this is just off the top of my head, would probably be our Dropbox solutions. So if you had clients text you photos, what the person who is receiving those texts can do is actually add those either to Dropbox or Google Drive, where you'll then be able to pull those into Sendible directly. Alternatively, and this kind of depends on the systems you're using. If you're using a system like iCloud, if they do text you those photos should live in your iCloud, where if you're using Sendible on a platform that's connected to that iCloud, you should be able to pull those images and those photos directly from your library that way as well. I hope that answered your question, but I'm also, again, happy to jump on a call. Cool. And I'll just give everyone just another 30 seconds or so to ask any other questions. Can Sendible schedule Reels? Yes, Matt, that's a great question. We can schedule Reels and we can also schedule stories. My apologies for not highlighting that more specifically, but I'll just show you real quick. When you add a Facebook, Instagram profile, and just give me half a second to upload a video real quick. There will be, once this is uploaded, there'll be some options down below to pick those kind of different scheduling options depending on the network. So for Facebook and Instagram, we'll have Reels and Stories. And then if you're using YouTube, we will also have YouTube Shorts in here. And then of course, TikTok can also post. We can also post to TikTok, but because TikTok is primarily videos, you won't have to do anything special in order to get the video to post to TikTok. Almost there. Okay, so now that it's been uploaded, you kind of see these options post down here, and then we can just schedule that as a reel. We do schedule it directly. So if you've used a social media manager in the past, and maybe it's been a little while, Reels were a challenge for a long time because Facebook and Instagram didn't allow you to post them directly via their API. That has changed in the last year and a half, 2 years or so. So now we are able to actually post directly. You don't need to use reminder functionality or anything like that to get the content, the Reels or the stories to your clients' pages. Amazing. Well, if there's any other questions, I'll be sharing my contact information in just a second, and then you'll also be receiving an email from our team, so you can feel free to reply to that, and we'd be happy to connect. But with that, just want to leave you with a quick preview of our next webinar. So my colleague Marcus, who is on that customer success team I was ranting and raving about earlier, will be doing a quick product roundup. So if you want to see all the great stuff that Sendible has come out with this year, and I don't want to overpromise, but maybe a quick look at what we're working on next, definitely register for this webinar here in a couple weeks with Marcus. And with that, we're a few minutes over, but thank you so much for spending your morning or your afternoon with me, depending on where you're at. Again, my name is Anthony, and you'll be able to contact me directly at anthony@sendible.com, or you can reach out to someone on our team, and we'll be able to connect with you as well by reaching out to sales@sendible.com. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, appreciate the engagement and the questions. Thanks, Gemma. I'll hang out for a few more minutes in case anyone has any questions, but again, that's kind of what I had for you today. So you'll receive a recording of this call, and we'll also send over the slide deck, and we'll be at your service if you need anything. Cool. All right, it looks like most people have kind of made their way out, so I'll go ahead and end the call now. But again, thank you so much, and be on the lookout for those emails from us. Thanks, everyone.